Welcome, hospital administrators, logistics directors, and healthcare innovators to this explainer. I want you to think for just a second about the emotional toll on your medical staff when a critical shortage hits. Imagine that sheer panic of knowing exactly what a patient needs to survive, but just not having it on hand. If you've ever dealt with that reality, well, you know that time is quite literally measured in lives saved, and inefficiency, it's just not an option. So let's dive into this absolutely incredible success story in emergency blood logistics. Today, we're looking at PluBlood Connect. It's a digital initiative that is completely rethinking how we manage life-saving resources. It's a real game changer for community impact, and I am thrilled to walk you through exactly how it works.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. 1. Solving emergency logistics crises. 2. Verification ensures network trust. 3. Our volunteer guide, step by step. 4. Ethical compliance through digital badges. 5. Preventing systemic supply failures. And 6. Global humanitarian growth potential.
Section 1. Solving emergency logistics crises.
So, how do we actually prevent systemic failures in our emergency blood supply? This is the vital question facing every hospital administrator today. To really understand the solution, we have to look at why traditional supply chains bottleneck in the first place. Right now, we rely heavily on centralized blood banks. And the problem is, these centralized hubs are incredibly vulnerable. A severe weather event, a sudden localized trauma spike, or, honestly, even just a long holiday weekend can completely drain regional reserves. When that happens, the gap between a willing blood donor sitting at home and a patient bleeding out in the ER is historically filled with logistical red tape, disconnected databases, and just severe communication breakdowns. But PluBlood Connect provides a proven digital solution to this exact problem. It effectively rewires the whole system so supply meets urgent demand without those fatal delays. This ecosystem basically operates as a transparent bridge, and it relies on three core pillars. First, the donors. But importantly, we're not talking about just random individuals here. These are verified Pi network users. Second, your medical facilities. These are the hospitals that suddenly find themselves in a critical emergency shortage and need immediate resupply. And third, the glue holding the whole shebang together, the volunteers providing the localized transport logistics to connect the two. It's a complete self-sustaining loop where everyone knows their exact role. The digital framework ensures this rapid, seamless communication between the community and the hospital, and it just completely bypasses traditional hurdles. Moving right along to Section 2. Verification ensures network trust. Now, you might be wondering, why the Pi network? Well, leveraging the verified user base of the Pi network isn't just about utilizing some cool new piece of technology. It is absolutely crucial. It's the bedrock of network trust and patient safety. Because look, when you're dealing with blood, which is a highly regulated, biologically sensitive resource, anonymity is a massive liability. Medical facilities simply cannot rely on unverified sources. You need to guarantee donor eligibility, history, and you absolutely have to ensure traceability for blood-borne pathogens. An unverified donor isn't just risky. From a regulatory standpoint, it's completely unusable. But by tapping into a secure, authenticated user foundation, administrators can trust that the individuals stepping up to donate or transport are real, traceable, and strictly accountable. This is a massive paradigm shift, right? By prioritizing technological coordination over money, the framework naturally enforces strict compliance with vital health regulations. Think about it. When you remove direct financial transactions from the peer-to-peer exchange of blood, you immediately eliminate a whole host of compliance risks and ethical dilemmas. The technology just steps in and handles the heavy lifting, the logistics, the matching, the routing. And this ensures that the primary driver of the entire system remains the ethical imperative to save lives. It lets administrators get back to focusing on patient care rather than constantly dealing with regulatory headaches.
All right, Section 3. Volunteer guide, step by step.
Okay, let's say you are a brand new volunteer joining our ecosystem today. The onboarding process is beautifully simple and, honestly, foolproof. It allows you to safely start assisting medical facilities within minutes. Step 1 is network verification. Before you do anything, you authenticate your identity via the Pi network. Boom, you instantly become a trusted, traceable node in the system. Step 2 is logistics coordination. The digital framework automatically matches verified donors in the area with specific, critical shortages reported by local facilities. There's no guesswork, it's just precise, real-time data delivered straight to your device. And finally, Step 3 is facility delivery. This is where volunteers execute the localized support, getting the exact right resources to the right hospital at the exact right time. It empowers communities to act fast and act safe.
Section 4. Ethical compliance through digital badges.
Now, what's really interesting here is the clear ethical advantage when you compare this to traditional models. Traditional systems often rely heavily on financial gain. And sure, paying for plasma or blood can definitely drive short-term spikes in donation, but it introduces massive compliance risks and creates this highly transactional relationship. It tends to attract individuals motivated purely by money rather than community health, which historically leads to compromised safety standards. Pi Blood Connect flips this script entirely. By leaning strictly into non-monetary incentives and community recognition, we guarantee ethical compliance while still providing a deeply rewarding experience for the user.
You know, the behavioral science behind this is honestly fascinating. Offering digital badges to donors encourages a sustainable, long-term culture of voluntary service. Humans are inherently social creatures, right? We're driven by pure respect and community recognition. So rather than a one-off financial transaction that gets quickly forgotten, a digital badge acts as a permanent, highly visible marker of altruism within their digital community. It's essentially the ultimate form of social proof. It becomes a point of pride, a testament to their willingness to step up in a crisis. This specific kind of social innovation successfully builds a dedicated, long-term donor base that medical facilities can continuously rely on year after year.
Moving to Section 5, preventing systemic supply failures.
We absolutely must recognize how this specific framework directly tackles the macro-level logistics breakdowns that end up costing lives. It does this by creating a transparent bridge where hospitals are directly connected to willing, verified donors. This completely bypasses traditional logistics bottlenecks. Because the response is decentralized, localized support networks can deploy immediately, right within their own neighborhoods. This drastically reduces transport times. Ultimately, this rapid technological coordination proves that systemic failures in centralized blood banks no longer have to dictate emergency room outcomes.
And finally, Section 6, global humanitarian growth potential. As we conclude this briefing, let's look at the future of this highly successful initiative. Because the true power of Pi Blood Connect, it really lies in its ability to scale. We're talking about taking localized emergency logistics and turning them into a vast, worldwide humanitarian ecosystem. Because the underlying technology, the Pi network verification, and the digital framework itself is completely borderless. That means the successes we see in one local community can be instantly replicated across the globe. A system that saves a life in a rural clinic can be mirrored seamlessly to a major metropolitan hospital. So we aren't just talking about fixing a single hospital's supply chain here. We are looking at a highly adaptable blueprint for a globally unified, ethically compliant, and hyper-efficient emergency response network.
So, I want to leave you with this provocative thought. How quickly can we implement this verified framework globally to ensure that absolutely no hospital ever faces a critical shortage again? The technology is here, the verification ensures absolute trust, and the community is eager and ready. The only question remaining is how fast we choose to adapt. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this incredible success story inspires you to rethink what's truly possible in health.